Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is on how I went from a plain package shirt to a customized shirt using Ankara print. This style is common among couples and I get a lot of requests on this, so I decided to share one of the methods I use. So if you like to see how I achieve my result, keep watching. Do not forget to like and share. I'll leave the link to the tutorial on how I made the wife's dress in the description. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and let's get started. I'll be working with this white package shirt for this tutorial and we'll be customizing it with this African print. I'm going to remove the left side of the front panel as shown in our inspiration photo, and I'll maintain the original placket or button extension of the shirt. You can make new placket if you prefer, which will make installation even more easier. I just want to maintain the original placket of the shirt and will be replacing that front panel with the Ankara piece. On the right side of the shirt, I will be replacing the placket or button extension with the Ankara piece as shown in our inspiration photo. I will go ahead and loosen up the shirt. I've gone ahead and removed the front panel of the shirt and I used it as a template to cut out the Ankara piece we'll be replacing it with. So I folded in the placket of the button while cutting because from my inspiration photo, the placket of the shirt is in plain color. So my Ankara piece here has 0.25 inch seam allowance which I have ironed down, and because I'll be trimming off the rest of the shirt, I folded in the placket and gave it a good press to have this crease line which will serve as a guideline when attaching the Ankara piece. I'll go ahead and cut out the placket or button extension and add 0.25 inch joining allowance. I'm going to attach the placket to the Ankara using a French seam. That's why I did 0.25 inch seam allowance, because I'll be trimming it down to the barest minimum. The width of the placket or button extension is 1.25 inches. From the center front of the shirt to the crease line is 1.25 inches plus 0.25 inch joining allowance. So the total of what I cut out as the placket is 1.5 inches. You can as well prepare a new placket from scratch if you prefer. For me, I want to maintain the original placket the shirt came with. So I've pinned the wrong side of the placket to the wrong side of the Ankara and I'm going to attach with a straight stitch. So this my 0.25 inch seam allowance, I'm going to half it into two. I'm going to sew half of it first. When you pin these two pieces, make sure their crease line matches in order not to affect the neck circumference when attaching it back to the collar. This is what your shirt is going to look like. The raw edges of the seam will be on the right side, and on the wrong side you're going to have a neat finish. When I lift the placket cover, you can see the remaining seam allowance. That's the crease line there and the crease line on the Ankara piece as well. So I'm going to trim down the seam allowance very close to the stitches. So guys, this is what your trimming should look like. Hope it's clear enough. This part is very important if you are maintaining the original placket of the shirt you are customizing, as this will reduce bulkiness, except where you are completely making a new placket. To finish up the placket, I'm going to take the remaining seam allowance, that's the crease line you're seeing on the Ankara, and match it up to the crease line on the placket and pin in place. To properly do this, you're going to spread open the seam, push in the seam line and match up the crease lines of the Ankara to the placket and pin in place. This is the reason why you must use small seam allowance here and also trim it very close to the stitches to prevent bulkiness. I'm going to take this pinning all the way down to the hem of the shirt and I'm pinning with the Ankara on top of the placket, then I'll run a top stitch on it. So guys, I'm done running the top stitch and you can see how neat it turned out. It's very neat on the wrong side and on the right side as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is to attach it back to the front panel. I'll go ahead and attach it back on the shoulder, the armhole and on the neckline, following the way I removed it. I will also attach it on the side seam and hem the hem of the shirt, and I'll show you guys. I've done all that I said and have finished off all raw edges, and this is what my shirt is looking like. So we've completed this part of the shirt, which is where we have the major work. So we'll be working on this other part of the shirt. On this other part of the shirt, the only thing we are changing is the placket or button extension. So I have buttoned up the shirt to know how much the placket overlapped, and for me is 1.25 inches. I have cut out the new button extension using the Ankara piece. When you open up the button extension of this shirt, you will see that it has no interfacing, rather it was doubled. So I did the same with my button extension using the width of 1.25 inches, which is the width of our placket. So the total of what I cut out plus seam allowance is 4 inches, and my seam allowance in this 4 inches is 0.25 inch. I'm going to mark out my placket of 1.25 inches. Connect the points with a straight line. Then I'll fold it on that line and give it a good press to create a crease line. So guys, I've created the crease line. I'll go ahead and cut it out, and I'll go towards the center front of the shirt and add my 0.25 inch joining allowance. I'll go ahead and pin the Ankara piece to the shirt with the right side of the Ankara piece to the wrong side of the shirt, making sure their crease line matches, and I will attach with a straight stitch. I'm going to trim down the seam allowance of the Ankara piece very close to the stitches to reduce bulkiness. Then I'll press in the seam allowance towards the center front. So guys, I've trimmed down the seam allowance of the Ankara and have ironed down the remaining seam allowance towards the center front of the shirt. I'll go ahead and run a top stitch on the placket to finish the installation. I have top stitched the placket and we are almost done. The only thing remaining is to attach it back to the collar and hem the shirt. I am yet to decide if I'll add a pocket. The original shirt has no pocket, but our inspiration photo does. I'll quickly do this. I'll add the buttons as well, and I'll show us the final look. So guys, this is the final look of the shirt. I really love the way it turned out. Do not forget to like and share this video if you find it helpful. The next tutorial is going to be on how I made the wife's dress, so stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. A bientôt!